Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto got harem with Moka, Kurumu and Mizore. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, so without wasting any time let's get into the video. It had been a good 3 months since the end of the 4th Great Shinobi War. The reason for the war ending was because of the hero of the war Naruto Uzumaki and his best friend Sasuke Uchiha after he returned from his corruption. Naruto and Sasuke practically steamrolled over all that stood before the two ninja with their unstoppable teamwork, even though they hadn't worked together like ever. It seemed they had perfect teamwork. When they faced off against Madara in the final battle, they finished him off with a combination jutsu of Sasuke's Kirin and Naruto's Rasen Shuriken that the lighting dragon somehow picked up with its mouth and completely destroyed Madara with. Once the battle was over, everyone mourned their fallen comrades, and then later the villages made a contract to never attack each other again. Yet everything was going go for the elemental nation these days. Now here we find ourselves in Konoha, where our blonde hero is both annoyed and a little happy. In the Hokage's office. "You have got to be kidding me," Naruto stated with a twitching eyebrow as he looked at his busty blonde Hokage. "No Naruto, I'm not, you have to do this," she stated as Naruto just stared at her with narrowed eyes. "So you're telling me you finally got the council to accept me as your successor, but you want me to go on this long-term mission because it could boost my political standing in the world and I have to find at least 3 wives by the time I'm 19, what the funk?" Naruto stated with a violently twitching eyebrow as he slammed his hands on her desk. "I'm the hero of the damn 4th Shinobi Great War, how can I get more political standing than that, and why the hell do I need 3 wives by the time I'm 19? He questioned in an annoyed tone. "Because brat, you are the last of 2 really powerful clans, that's why," she stated as she just pulled out a bottle of sake, trying to ignore the now ranting teen in front of her until something caught her eye. "Would you 2 stop making out back there and help me with your next Hokage?" she questioned one pink-haired medic nin and one ex-Avenger as they quickly separated now that they had the spotlight. "Well, we thought you had it handled, Tsunade-sama, and it's not like it includes us, so it doesn't really matter," Sakura stated as she shrugged her shoulders, then looked over to her raven-haired boyfriend. "Well, the dope should be happy, only one more job granted. I understand it's a long one, he should still be happy that his dream is right there," Sasuke stated with a small smile in agreement to his pink-haired girlfriend until they noticed the smirk that spread across their busty Hokage's face, causing them to become slightly nervous. "What are you talking about? I never said you 2 weren't going, this is a team mission with Naruto as team captain," she stated as the 2 jonin went pale. Then the door opened, revealing a silver-haired scarecrow who was reading his oh-so-famous orange book. "About time you got here, let me guess, a black cat crossed your path and you had to walk around the whole damn village to get here?" Tsunade questioned in annoyance from her ninja's lateness. "Actually, it was a black chicken that was stuck in a tree that I had to get down for this little girl, then I got lost on the road of life," he stated as he continued to read his book, ignoring the 4 comments of funking liar that was said. "Okay, now that everyone is here I can tell you guys the full details of the mission. Okay, as you guys know, I finally got the council to agree to have Naruto as our next Hokage," she stated as everyone smiled towards Naruto. "This mission is to boost not only his, but also the whole village's political standing in the whole world, not only the elemental nations, so as you can tell this is a very important mission," she stated as everyone nodded their heads, understanding completely. "Okay, as I said, Naruto is the team leader of this mission and you guys are to do exactly as the client tells you to do, is that understood?" she questioned as everyone nodded their heads in understanding until Naruto raised his head to speak. What's the client's name anyway?" he questioned as Tsunade just grinned at him for some reason unknown to him and everyone else there. "His name is simply Headmaster," she stated with a large grin. No way in the 7 gates of hell am I going to get on that thing," Naruto stated as he stared at this yellow metal thing that was creeping the hell out of him in the first place. "And why not Naruto?" Kakashi questioned from the side of him as he gazed at the metal contraption as well with a calculating eye. Naruto then narrows his eyes. "I don't trust it," he stated as Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke face faulted from his comment. Really, he didn't trust an inanimate object. "And don't even get me started on that guy that's operating it. Just look at his funking eyes, that's just scary. Now don't get me wrong, I've seen some pretty scary eyes, just take Sasuke for example, and then the whole Youkai clan, they have weird eyes as well, but come on, his is just plain white and it's glowing through the glasses, this guy takes the damn cake," he stated as the man on the bus looked at him strangely as if he was mildly offended by that remark. "Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but you really shouldn't judge people, especially you with that hideous outfit," the bus driver stated as everyone chuckled, saved for a growling Naruto who just decided to drop the whole thing since he knew he'll lose that argument and walked on the bus and found a seat with Sasuke, Sakura and Kakashi following him. "So what's this place like anyway?" Sakura questioned the driver as they were already driving through a dark tunnel with Sasuke sitting on the side of her. It's a very scary place. He said in a deadpan tone that caused the ninja minus Kakashi, who was too busy taking a good nap to pay attention to sweat drop from the comment. A few minutes later they exited the tunnel and came to a stop as everyone took their stuff and exited the bus as the bus driver gave them a warning to be careful that Naruto just scoffed at he was always careful. Yeah right. So which way is this academy anyway? Sasuke questioned from behind the group as he slung his bag over his shoulder, then looked over to his team leader waiting for his answer. Naruto then mirrored his actions by slinging his bag over his shoulder, as well as he took out a piece of paper he had gotten for Tsunade prior from leaving. According to this paper that Bachan gave me, it should be just north off the bus stop, so let's just go that way. Naruto answered as he began walking north with his team following him closely. They were walking for a good 10 minutes when they found themselves in a dense forest area that reminded Naruto of Konoha. He was so lost in thought that he never noticed that a bike rider was heading his way until it was too late and crashed into him, causing him and the bike rider to roll on the ground as the rest of the shinobi just stare at Naruto and giggle at his misfortune. Hey Naruto, once you're done messing around, meet us in the headmaster's office. Kakashi said as the remaining members of Team 7 continued on their way, leavening their dazed blonde team leader to deal with his new situation. "Ow, what the funk hit me?" Naruto stated as he looks up to find the cutest girl he had ever seen in his life straddling his waist as she looked a bit out of it still, since he was able to see swirls in her eyes. She had long silky pink hair and the most beautiful green eyes he had ever seen in his life. She for a second though when he looked at her rosary, it had a red demonic eye in it, reminding him slightly of Kurama, but it disappeared almost instantly making Naruto think he was seeing things. "Why won't the world stop spinning?" she questioned as she held her head in her hands, causing Naruto to chuckle a bit from this, until she finally came to noticing she was on top of him, causing her to blush crimson. "Yo." Naruto said simply with his signature grin, causing her to smile back a bit until a certain smell caught her nose and she looked down and noticed blood dripping down from a small cut on his cheek. Not being able to take much more of the intoxicating scent, she leaned down and licked his cheek, and now it was Naruto's turn to turn crimson as he felt the beautiful girl's delicate tongue graze his cheek. What are you doing?" he questioned slightly nervously, fearing for his life that this girl was the second upcoming of Anko. Moka, finally coming to her senses, jumped back a bit but not off his lap and she bowed. "I'm so sorry. It's just your blood smelt so good. You see I'm a," she started as her eyes glazed over once again as she leaned in towards the confused blonde under her. "Vampire." She finished as she bit into him and Naruto gave a surprised yelp but otherwise felt nothing. It's not like he could die from this, it would be a rainy day in hell if Kurama would let him die from a little loss of blood. Kurama was regenerating his blood cells at the same time she was taking them, so it's not like he felt anything, and the feeling of her sucking his blood was more of the feeling of his ex-girlfriend Hinata whenever she would leave a hickey, so it was actually pleasant, you can say. Once she was done, Moka pulled away with a dreamy look on her face as Naruto looked at her with an amused look. "Yay, his blood seemed to do that to the ladies." "Hey kid." Kurama said, making his presence known from the confines of Naruto's mind. "Yay Kurama, what you need?" Naruto asked in confusion because Kurama rarely communicated with him. Don't get him wrong, himself and Kurama were on very good terms with one another, it's just that they never really had anything to talk about. So they just decided to talk to one another when it was necessary, so it must be important for Kurama to contact him. "Did that girl just say she was a vampire?" he said with a calm and collected voice. "I think so, why?" Naruto questioned as QB then started laughing crazily, causing Naruto to sweat drop. "What's going on?" he questioned in confusion as he didn't understand what was so funny. "That old hag, I knew it. I felt the demonic aura around this place. Ha, this is great, we going to have so much fun here. Okay listen kid, either make friends with this girl or stay the hell away from her because we do not want her as an enemy later on, got it?" Kurama stated as Naruto could only nod dumbly. He was going to be her friend in the first place, she seemed pretty nice. Are you okay?" the vampire questioned nervously as she thought she may have offended him by sucking his blood. This caused him to broken from his thoughts as he looked up at the girl. "Yeah, I'm fine," Naruto started as he was searching for a name that she seemed to catch on to. Moka Akashia," she said as Naruto nodded with a smile as he decided to introduce himself as well. Naruto Uzumaki, and if it's not too much to ask, would you like to hang out later?" Naruto questioned as Moka seemed to adopt a shocked expression, not expecting the request as she lowers her head, causing her hair to shadow her eyes, so Naruto wasn't able to see them. "You don't hate me for being a vampire?" she questioned in a low shaky voice as she was always hated for being what she was and it scared her that he would be the same, especially after she lost control of herself and sucked his blood without permission. Now how can I hate such a beautiful girl, and if I had a problem with you, I would have pushed you off me by now. Naruto stated with a small smirk as Moka seemed to remember the position they were in and quickly got off with a large blush on her face. So what do you say, friends? Naruto questioned as he stood up and reached his hand down to help her up. Yes. She said happily as she took his hand and jumped up to wrap her arms around his free arm. This caused Naruto to have a light blush on his face as he noticed his arm was being pushed into her bust and he felt her softness. No bad, no dirty thoughts. Naruto said to himself as he could hear Kurama chuckling in the back of his head. Yeah, well, let's get to the academy. Naruto stated once he brought his blush down as she nodded her head happily until she took in his attire and noticed something. Why are you not wearing the uniform? She questioned as Naruto raised an eyebrow in confusion, then looked around and noticed that a lot of people were wearing the same outfit and he cursed to himself as he noticed this. Well, you see, I still need to enroll, so I have to go talk to the headmaster. He stated as Moka seemed to accept that and pushed Naruto forward. Well, you better hurry, classes are about to start. She said as she walked off in a different direction, leaving Naruto to his own devices. Well, I better get to the office. Naruto stated as he pulled out a piece of paper that had the directions to the office on it. It took about 3 minutes, but he finally found it and just walked right in and got a fist atop the head for it as he slams into the ground by a growling Sakura. Ow, I thought we were past the abusive Sakura, now that Sasuke was back, and what was that for? Naruto questions as he gets up from off the ground nursing his now hurting head. That was for taking so long, now we are going to miss the entrance ceremony because of you. She stated angrily as Naruto just looked at her apologetically. Sorry, I was busy. He said as she just rolled her eyes saying sure you were, he growled at her, but he was cut off before he could make a retort. Oh, I'm so glad your team leader could make it. Naruto heard a voice say as he turned his head, then widened his eyes at what he saw, then immediately turned to leave. Nah, not happening, I learned from the trip here to never trust guys with glowing wide eyes, I'm out. Naruto stated as he began to leave, but was grabbed by the collar as Kakashi whispered in his ear. Naruto, if you don't listen to him we have to report back to Tsunade-sama as a mission failed, do you want that? Kakashi whispered as Naruto shivered, then turned back around to listen to the man. It's not like he liked it, it's just he was scared shitless of what Tsunade would do if he just left. Oh, I see you're back, okay, well, here what I need you guys to do. Just attend class here for 3 years. He stated as all the members of Team 7 raised their eyebrows in confusion. There had to be something else to this mission, why would they come here just to attend high school? There has to be something else to this mission, and what about Kakashi-sensei? He's obviously too old to attend classes here. Naruto stated as he was completely lost on what this man was getting at. This was until Kakashi stepped up with a nervous chuckle, causing Naruto and the rest of Team 7 to raise an eyebrow. I was wondering why Tsunade-sama was giving me her secret to why she looked so young, but who knew this was the reason for it? Kakashi stated as all of a sudden in Kakashi's place was a puff of smoke, then when it cleared was a teenage Kakashi standing there as Sakura started poking him in the face to check and see if he would change back, and when he didn't she was shocked. Oh my Kami, it's real, she just gave it to you? Sakura questioned as Kakashi shook his head negatively as he began to shake a bit in fear. She threatened to kill me if her secret ever got out, so it's not like I can tell anyone else. Kakashi said with a sigh, but he was also leaving out about the slow torture she would give him and all the creative things she would do with a screwdriver, rope, glue, and a gulp bear trap. Sakura just nodded her head in understanding as she went back to stand by Sasuke, who had a small smile on his face the whole time. This was very amusing for the last Uchiha, and he needed this after the war. He never had any downtime, and it seemed this would grant him his downtime, and plus he got to spend it with his favorite people. Okay, I remember this is a school for monsters, so humans are not allowed here, but lucky for you we consider Shinobi as a half-breed like witches. The headmaster stated as everyone turned their attention back to him. Well, I hope you guys have a fun time here in our school because who knows what may happen. Okay, now here are your outfits and I think you guys will like the additions that have been added to them. He stated as he pulled out a couple of outfits from the closet on the side of his room. When you get back to your dorms there are more pairs. He stated as he handed each of them their new outfits for school. Sasuke and Naruto both had the normal boys' uniform, except with the addition of their clan's symbols on the back of each of their jackets and with Naruto having an orange tie with it. Sakura had the normal schoolgirl's uniform, except she had a Sakura tree design on the back of hers, and Kakashi, well, he just had the pants as he wore his Jonin jacket over his white dress shirt, along with his signature black mask. Well, it looks like you guys are all set and welcome to your new life for 3 years at Youkai Academy. The headmaster yelled as he laughed insanely. I hate that guy with a burning passion. Naruto stated as he and Kakashi walked towards their homeroom that was starting in a few minutes. I wonder why you hate him, is it because of the mission or his eyes? Kakashi questioned with a hidden smirk as Naruto growled lowly, glaring at the one-eyed scarecrow. Both. His eyes are scary as shit and this mission doesn't make any sense at all. Naruto yelled out in frustration as the silver-haired shinobi chuckled at his student's mood. Oh, calm down Naruto, I'm sure it won't be that bad and who knows, coming here may be a good thing for us. Kakashi stated as they entered the classroom. Hearing this, Naruto just nodded his head in agreement, unconsciously thinking of a certain pink-haired vampire. Once they had entered the classroom, the chatting had quieted down as many of the students stared at them. Most of the girls had hearts in their eyes as the guys just glare at potential rivals. Naruto and Kakashi both sweat dropped seeing this as they both found that the whole row by the window was empty, so they just decided to sit there and wait for class to begin. They had waited for a good 3 minutes as Kakashi had taken to reading his little orange book and Naruto just decided to take out a kunai and spin it on his finger while they waited. Once the bell rang, in walked a woman with sandy blonde hair with glasses and what looked like cat ears coming out of the side of her head. Hello everyone and welcome to Youkai Academy. I am your homeroom teacher Shizuka Nekonim. I think all of you already know this, but I will tell you anyway. Youkai Academy was built by and for monsters, so everyone you see around here are monsters. She stated with a beaming smile as all of the students chuckled a bit from that, then she got back to it. Our current problem. The earth has already come under control of the humans. In order for us monsters to continue to survive, we have no choice but to continue to coexist with the humans at this academy. You will be studying how to coexist with humans. She said as she finished the explanation of the reason for the school, till she remembered something and brought everyone's attention back to herself. So for that reason, as a school rule, you will live your lives at this academy in human form. She stated, do you understand? It's a matter of being able to disguise yourself well as a human. This is the foundation of coexistence. You are never to allow any of your fellow students to know your true form, understand? She stated sternly as one bulky student decided to make his opinion known. Hey teacher, would it not be better for us to eat those pathetic humans and in the case of hot girls, better to rape them? He stated beepily, but as soon as those words left his mouth a lightning-fast kunai grazed his cheek as blood leaked from the newly formed wound as he turned to the direction the kunai came from to see him, innocent smiling blonde. What the funk was that for Blondie? The bulky student growled out as Naruto just smiled towards him. Oh sorry, my grip just slipped, it happens sometimes when I hear things that piss me off. Naruto stated as he pointed his finger towards the roof as he formed a mini Rasen shuriken. It would be a shame if my grip slipped again. Naruto stated with a smile as the bulky student somehow knew to shut his dirty whore mouth for now as he turned back to the front of the classroom. I see you have some brains after all. Naruto stated as he released the jutsu and took out another kunai and began spinning it once again. Okay. Shizuka said as she was about to continue explaining until. Excuse me. I'm so sorry I'm late. After the entrance ceremony I got lost in the school, Moka yells as she storms through the doors slightly out of breath, which caused almost all the guys in the class to gain lustful eyes as the girls glared at the pink-haired vampire in envy. Oh, it's okay. Hurry and find a seat. Miss Shizuka chirped as Moka nodded her head as she began looking around the classroom until her eyes roamed over a familiar mop of blonde hair who seemed to not even notice what was going on in the room as he was just staring out the window as he spun the kunai on his finger. This caused her to squeal in excitement as she ran over to him. Naruto-kun. She yelled as said blonde just blinked as he noticed a fast approaching vampire, then he looked to his hand that still had the kunai that was in mid-spin, so as not to hurt her, he threw it in a random upward direction in order to not hurt anyone. But he forgot there was a window in the direction he decided to throw it in as it shattered at the same time he caught the excited vampire in his arms. Looking from the now snuggling vampire to the shattered window, then to the overly smiling teacher who had waves of dark energy coming off her, he could only say one thing as he sighed. I'll get it paid for by the end of the day. He said as she just nodded her head. After trying to get Moka off him, which he really didn't put up much of a fight because he didn't mind her at all. They sat through the first few classes of the day that he had to deal with a shit ton of glaring from the male population that he just put an end to when he gave them a burst of his kai mixed with Kurama's yaki. Then the classes, which in Naruto's opinion was boring as hell, he even opted to talking to Kurama, but the old fox was sleeping and didn't want to be bothered, so that left Naruto to fend for himself. Kakashi for his part, he just put a Jinjutsu on his famous Icha to look like the textbooks for each class they would be in, like seriously, how interesting could it be to read the same porn over and over again? When it was coming to an end of their fourth class, Naruto was on his last legs. He couldn't do it, there was not enough ninja training in the world that would have prepared him for a normal teenage life, and this woman could talk about math like it was Kami's gift, and Naruto didn't know how much more he could take. It was killing him slowly, painfully, antagonizing, screeching, ringing. Bell ringing, wait, bell ringing, bell ringing. Naruto then instantly stands up in his desk as he yells. Thank you, Kami-sama. He then rushes out of the classroom, leaving a fuming teacher, a smiling pink-haired vampire who chased after him, and a chuckling silver-haired scarecrow. Once they were outside the classroom, Naruto had slowed down to a walking pace in the hallway as he had noticed that Moka was trying to catch up to him. Once she caught up to him, she immediately latched onto him, causing him to smile. For some reason he really liked this girl, even though he had just met her like a few hours ago. "So what do you want to do for lunch break?" Naruto questioned as she looked at him nervously, but was never able to voice her request before the large bulky student from the morning stepped in front of them as he lifted Naruto up by his tie, never taking his eyes off of Moka. "You're called Moka Akashia, are you not? I am your classmate Saizu Kamiya. By the way, why is a beautiful lady like yourself associating with a guy like this?" He questioned as by now a lot of the student population had come to watch the outcome of this encounter. But Naruto, he was not too pleased with what was happening as he let a little bit of Kurama's yaki leak out as his whiskers became more defined, but his eyes didn't change. The reason he was pissed was not because this guy was calling him weak, no, it wasn't even because he was ignoring him. It was because he had the audacity to touch the only thing that he was allowed to have orange on his uniform. How fucking dare he? With that thought in mind, Naruto thought some punishment was in order as grabbed Saizu's hand and crushed it, causing the bigger man to scream in pain. But Naruto wasn't done as he then proceeded to use a chakra-infused roundhouse to Saizu's face, sending the man flying out of the window, shattering it on impact as Naruto mumbles to himself. "Damn, I have to pay for another one," he stated as he began to cry in tears since he was oblivious to the awestruck students who were staring at him, and also one slitted eye from inside a certain rosary when it noticed the yaki flux. This one was more of curiosity than awe though. Once that was over, Naruto and Moka had decided to spend the rest of their lunch break on the roof to avoid any unnecessary encounters, but as luck should have it, guess who they find on the roof already? The rest of Naruto's team. "Oh, fun," Naruto says sarcastically as he and Moka walks over to them. It's not that he had a problem with them or anything, it's just that they always like to embarrass him by saying something that he did stupidly in the past. Yeah, he was man enough to admit it, he was a complete idiot before the war. "So Kakashi-sensei, how was yours and Naruto's classes?" Sakura questioned as she had apparently just finished telling him about her and Sasuke's day, but before he could start someone interrupted him. "Boring as hell, that's how the day went," Naruto stated as he strolled up to them with Moka hanging off him still, which for some reason annoyed Sakura, she didn't know why though. Naruto then sat down and leaned against the railing off the roof with Moka next to him. "Hey Naruto, who's that?" Sakura questions in annoyance as she for some reason had a strange feeling in the pit of her stomach. Sasuke just looked at her strangely as he was wondering why she was getting so worked up. It's not like it's any of her business, and Kakashi was just amused as he waited for the upcoming conversation. It's not like it's any of your business, but I'll tell you anyway, this is Moka-chan, she's the girl that crashed into me this morning," Naruto said with a grin as Moka blushed in embarrassment from being reminded that she crashed into someone. Kakashi just chuckled while Sasuke smiled, and Sakura seemed even more annoyed for some reason. "Hi," Moka said timidly as Kakashi smiled to her while Sasuke nodded his head and Sakura well just ignored her and looked at Naruto. "Where were you?" "We were supposed to meet up in the cafeteria for lunch," Sakura questioned in an annoyance as Naruto just looked at her with little interest. "We agree if we had nothing better to do, and I did, which was hanging out with Moka-chan," Naruto stated firmly as he looked away from her in annoyance. He never noticed the large blush on Moka's face, but Sakura did, which pissed her off even more. What the funk is her problem? Naruto questioned in thought as he leaned his head against the railing, then he began to think as he remembered something. "Oh yeah, Moka-chan, what were you going to ask me in the hallway?" Naruto looks towards her, then notices as she blushes crimson and whispers in his ear, causing him to have a small blush as well, but otherwise smirk. "Okay, I don't mind really," Naruto stated as he picked her up, getting a small eat from the girl as he placed her in his lap as she had her legs on both sides of his and her hands were touching his chest with a large blush on her face. "Well, go ahead," Naruto stated as he tilted his head to the side, exposing his neck to her. Sakura was about to yell at her blonde teammate for doing something perverted until she noticed the pink-haired girl bite into Naruto's neck as she moaned quite loudly, getting a blush from Sakura as she just sat back down and tried to ignore the two. Sasuke for his part was happy for his best friend, eternal rival, and a little worried for him at the same time. Was that healthy to get your blood sucked like that? And Kakashi for his part, he couldn't stop giggling like the damn pervert he was as he watched the scene in front of him, thinking of how kinky it was. Back with the two teens that were in the act, Moka was on cloud 9 as Naruto just ran his hands through her long silky pink hair and for some reason he could feel her pull on his yaki, which causes him to raise an eyebrow as he looks at her and notices that her rosary was glowing bright red. "Hey Kurama, what's going on?" Naruto questioned as he was slightly intrigued on how she was pulling on his yaki and why her rosary was glowing. This got the old fox's attention as he rolled around in the field of grass that was Naruto's mindscape to look at the scene from Naruto's eyes. "Most interesting, she seems to have most of her powers sealed behind that rosary." For what reason I have no clue. It could be a number of possibilities, like she was too strong for her own good, or her Youkai was out of control, or she just simple didn't like the life of a vampire and sealed herself, who knows kid. The fox stated wisely as he looked at the rosary. Now the reason she is sucking your Youkai in is because our kind and rosaries have never gotten along, so it would most likely weaken it, not enough to break it, but enough for her to gain some Youkai back and maybe other things, so just leave it be, it will help her out in the long run. Kurama stated as Naruto just listened to him. He had no reason not to. He trusted the fox, he was always there for him. That thought made him frown as he was saddened, and Kurama could feel this. Listen kid, it was going to happen eventually. The seal wasn't completely perfect, and this is going to happen because of that miscalculation. Kurama stated as he was feeling bad that he had to give this burden to his first real friend in the last 100 or so years. It's not that, Kurama, it's just that we just started to have a good relationship, and now this happens. Naruto stated sadly as Kurama just sighed. He knew as well as his container that this was going to happen. They had tried not to bring it up, but it was hard not to. How long do you have left? Naruto questioned in a sad voice as Kurama looked down at the grass. You already absorbed 7 of my tails kit. We knew in that fight with Madara, when we went all out, it would speed up the process. Kurama stated as he was trying to not answer the question, but Naruto wasn't having it. How long? Naruto demanded as Kurama just sighed. A few weeks at most kid, then I'm gone, and you will be the new QB, Kurama stated as he cut the connection between them, allowing Naruto to come back to the real world, just as Moka had taken her fangs out of him and noticed his shocked face that had tears rolling down it. Fearing she had done something to cause this, she was about to apologize until Naruto kissed her forehead and said it was not her fault, that he just was remembering some bad memories, and to tell the teacher he would be sick for the remainder of the day. He also promised to see her later as he hurried to his room, that he had sent a clone to set up a tag in there earlier. Once he was in his room, he allowed a few more tears to fall as he slumped down on the floor leaning against his bed. The one person that was truly there his whole life was leaving him, and there was nothing he could do about it. It hurt a lot to be so helpless. Even when he had all this power, he could do nothing for his friend. Then he thought about how the villagers would react when they found out he truly would become the demon they always thought he was, and just when he earned their respect, which was a smack to the face as well. Would they still accept him as Hokage if they found out? He didn't know. They might even try to banish him. No, he couldn't think like that. Everything would be fine. He just had to believe that he had changed the villagers' outlook, so it was fine, right? Being mentally worn out, he then laid his head back against the bed as he closed his eyes, falling into a blissful sleep. He woke up a few hours later as he looked out the window to see it was near sunset. Seeing as he had nothing else to do, he decided he would take a walk around school, maybe go find Moka. As he was walking around school, he saw a lot of interesting things. He could saw like some weird machine, like things that had faces on them and drinks in them. Also this one statue that reminded him of a statue they had in the Elemental Nation, only a demon version of a man in a thinking pose. Naruto had to stare at it for a few minutes until he broke into a fit of laughter over how stupid it looked. Oh man, that was great, but I think I'm going to go find Moka and hang for a bit. Naruto stated to himself as he hurried to Moka from the one he had placed on her earlier in the day, not really thinking much on it. Once he took in his surrounding, he noticed that he was in the forest, and not really getting why Moka was in the forest, he looked around more to spot Moka on the ground, with her clothes torn to shreds, showing her in her bra and panties. That made Naruto blush at for a second, until he looked into her eyes, seeing the fear and now hope that was shining in them. Not really understanding why she would be afraid, he looked around once again to spot something he didn't know how he missed the first time, a giant orc towering over them. Now putting the pieces together, Naruto growled lowly as his hair shadowed his eyes. What the funk are you doing to her? Naruto questioned angrily as he really didn't need to be told, but he just wanted to see what this punk bitch had to say for himself. Oh look, the boyfriend's back. Good, I was hoping you would come around so I could get revenge for what you did to me earlier. The orc stated angrily as he glared down at the blonde who was now sporting a confused look. What the hell did I do to you? Naruto questions as he was not really sure what was going on anymore. Who the funk was this guy? Naruto-kun, that's Saizo's true form. Moka said from behind him as Naruto turned from her to the orc with disgusted look. I knew he was ugly underneath that skin of his, but I didn't know he was this ugly. Naruto commented in disgust as he then turns back to the growling orc. So you must really want to be put in the infirmary, huh? Naruto states as Saizo just charges at him in rage at the blonde's beepy attitude. Like the mindless beast you are. Naruto says with a sigh as he channels a little of his Youkai into his limbs and disappears from sight as he reappears in front of Saizo at eye level with a spinning purple ball of Youkai. Say goodnight. Rasengan. Naruto said quietly as Saizo could only say one thing as he stared into those blood-red slitted eyes and whisker marks. Kitsune. He said to himself as Naruto proceeded to ram the ball of Youkai into the orc's face, sending him spiraling back into many trees, not stopping until he was through 8 in total. With Moka. Kitsune. She whispered to herself as she thought about it, then was startled as a voice spoke up. Yes, the only race that is equal to vampires in power. The voice stated as Moka began looking around frantically looking for who was speaking to her, causing the voice to sigh. In here, the rosary. The voice stated as Moka went wide-eyed and looked down at a rosary. And before you make a fool out of yourself, talk in your mind, I can hear you perfectly. She stated as Outer Moka nodded her head in understanding. So what did you want to talk about? Outer Moka asked timidly as she had never spoken to her inner self. That boy, Naruto, he's a kitsune. He would make a fine mate, would he not? Inner Moka questioned as Outer Moka blushed crimson from the question. What are you talking about? Outer Moka stuttered out as Inner Moka smirked to herself at the accomplishment of making her outer self stutter. Listen, the seal is weakening. If this keeps up we will become one again. Inner Moka stated seriously as Outer Moka's eyes widened, but before she could question any further Naruto walked up to her. Hey Moka-chan, you okay? Naruto questioned in concern as Moka looked up to him with a blush adoring her face that she quickly pushed down and nodded her head. Good, I was worried for a second when you look out of it there. He stated in relief as he reached his hand down towards her, which she accepted and stood up. Well, it's getting late, so we better get back and I'll walk you to your room. Naruto stated with a smile as Moka just nodded her head and latched onto his arm quickly and looked down in order to hide her blush as they walked back to the dorms. Yep, defiantly a mate. Inner Moka said teasingly as Outer Moka blushed even harder. Shut up. She yelled as her inner self just laughed. What the funk is with this thing? Naruto yells as he stomped the ringing alarm clock that he could not figure out how to funking turn off. He pressed random ass buttons, but it still kept ringing. Now he was getting past the breaking point and he couldn't take it. So he took it upon himself to destroy the damn thing, but it appeared the thing was indestructible. He was even adding chakra to the mix and the thing didn't even dent. Thinking quickly, he looked for the plug-in for the power cord. When he finally found it, he ripped it out as it stopped, causing Naruto to sigh in relief. But just as he thought it was over, the damn thing started up again even louder, this time causing Naruto's eyebrows to twitch dangerously. It had internal batteries. What kind of sick joke was this? So he decided, picking up the clock, he then added a little yaki to his arm as he chucked it at the wall, but the wall that he threw it at just so happened to be a window as it shattered on impact, flying into the graveyard that was the surrounding area. Great, another window. At least I got rid of the damn thing. He said to himself as he slumped down on his bed and sighed. That was the roughest morning ever, and now that he thinks about it, he was fighting with a damn inanimate object and it was kicking his ass. He then looks up at his room and he had to say he was impressed. The innards of the dorms were actually way nicer than one would, given the way the outside looked. Opposed to the dirty and rundown look the outside had going, the inside was a whole other story. It was clean, pristine, and the rooms were pretty big as well. He figured that the whole dorm room was the size of his old apartment before he moved into his father's home. That reminded him most of the villagers still didn't know who his parents were. Wow. Back to the room, it had a small kitchen, a bathroom, and a bedroom just like any normal apartment. It was really nice. He had to say this place really outdid itself. Like, where did all the money come from? Brushing those thoughts aside for now, he stood up and made his way to the kitchen as he remembered before he threw the clock out the window. It was 6:30, a good 30 minutes before school started, so he decided he wanted a good breakfast which consisted of ramen. He was about to fix him some until he heard someone knock on his door, grumbling about people bothering him. When he was about to enter his ramen time, he walked to the door and opened it to reveal a slightly smirking Sasuke, who was already dressed in his uniform, causing Naruto to sigh as he remembered that they were neighbors. "So Naruto, how are you doing this fine morning?" Sasuke questioned as he looked into the room over the blonde's shoulder to see a destroyed area on the floor and a shattered window. This caused him to raise an eyebrow until he noticed the missing alarm clock, which brought a full-blown smirk to his face as he put the pieces together. "I was just wondering because I heard some noise coming from your room, so I thought you might be in trouble, so I simple pushed the large button on my alarm clock to shut it off and came check on you," Sasuke stated with a giant smirk as Naruto's face turned to one of horror and realization. "I thought that button was for it to self-destruct. You are never supposed to push the biggest button on anything, but now that I think about it, even if it was a self-destruct button, it would have been better than what I went through." Naruto grumbled with a sigh as he looked over at the still grinning Sasuke. "So what else do you want, or did you just come here to laugh at me?" Naruto questions as Sasuke just shakes his head negatively. "Nah, I had my fun. The real reason I came was because I cooked breakfast and I wondering if you would like to join me." Sasuke questioned as Naruto gained a shocked expression. "You cook?" Naruto questioned as Sasuke gained a tick mark. "Of course I cook. I wasn't going to eat that stuff the old pedo snake servants made. Who knows what they might have put in there. I could have been raped." Sasuke yelled with a horrified expression on his face that caused Naruto to laugh until Sasuke calmed down a few moments later. "So I learned how to cook on my own," he stated as Naruto nodded his head in understanding. Okay, well, I'll be there in a bit, let me get in my uniform. Naruto stated as Sasuke nodded his head and walked back next door to wait for Naruto. Since he wasn't going find Kakashi, he was on the complete other side of the dormitory for some reason, and they had some stupid rule that they couldn't use their powers in the dorms unless in your own private room. Once Sasuke got back to his dorm room, he closed the door behind him as he set the table with the eggs, bacon, and toast he had made for that morning as he sat down and waited for Naruto. He had to say coming here was really nice so far, granted yes it's only been a day, but he felt that he really didn't belong back in the Leaf Village. He felt that he betrayed it, which he did just because of his stupid revenge. He actually hated it how they so willingly accepted him back, it just didn't feel right to him for betraying the village. One right does not cover for a lifetime of wrongs, it just doesn't work that way. The more he thought about it, the more he just wanted the village to hate him, but they didn't. Why? Yeah, he was the last Uchiha, so funking what, who cares, it doesn't matter. He still turned on them, they could just take some of his damn semen if it's the Sharingan they want. He just didn't want to see their smiles when they looked at him. He didn't deserve it, they should be for Naruto not him, and he still sees some people give Naruto hateful glares, even though the only reason Sasuke was back was because of his blonde best friend. He was cut out of his thoughts as there was a knock on the door, causing him to smile slightly, knowing it was Naruto. I will support you no matter what, Naruto. He stated in thought as he opened the door to see a smiling blonde there. Well, come on, we have about 20 minutes left, so let's eat. Naruto stated as he walked in. 10 minutes later, school grounds. After Naruto and Sasuke had finished their breakfast, they decided to go find Sakura and Kakashi, which wasn't really that hard, considering they just had to look for a student with silver hair that was defying gravity and a girl with pink hair excluding Moka. They were making small talk as they were on their way to class until they noticed a large number of the male population surrounding on area yelling. Look, there she is, Moka-san, she's so hot. Dude, she's defiantly the academy's #1 beauty. She's so dazzling. If I tilt my head a little more I may be able to see her panties. That comment struck home as Naruto stomped towards the group, leaving the others to wonder what got Naruto so worked up. With Moka. Amit. You better do something about those lowly beasts. Yura growled as she was getting really pissed about how these lowly beasts were leering at her. I know, Yura, calm down, we just need to get past them and on to class, okay? Amit said as she continued to push through the crowd until a voice rang out. Okay, you assholes, move along, there's nothing to see here. Naruto yelled as he appeared near Moka and wrapped an arm around her shoulder. The comment only seemed to egg them on even more. Who the hell is this guy? No, not him again. Maybe we should just go. Why the hell would I leave for this guy? I heard he put someone in the hospital and he rumored to be S-classed, and you saw what happened to Saizo yesterday. Oh. Once that was over they noticed the crowd around them slowly disperse as Moka sighed in relief. Thank Kami for the mate. Yura yelled as Amit blushed crimson. Hey Moka-chan, you okay? You look a little red. Naruto stated as he placed his forehead against her own, getting a massive blush from the vampire. Yeah, I'm fine. Also, can I suck your blood, Naruto-kun? Moka questioned as Naruto just nodded his head and turned it to the side so she have better access. Seeing this, Moka's eyes lit up as her fangs enlarged and sunk into the blonde's exposed neck while Naruto just chuckled at her antics. Not really wanting to stand the whole time, he looked around and noticed they were like a few feet away from the school building, so he picked her up carefully as to not disturb her feeding and brought them over to the building as he leaned against it while running his hand through her hair until he noticed something. Hey, did you try to dye your hair? Naruto questioned as he was holding up one of her strands of hair that were silver instead of the normal pink. Moka pulled herself off him for a bit to look at the strain of hair and widened her eyes. That wasn't like that this morning, she screamed in thought. Oh, calm down, just continue drinking his heavenly blood and I'll tell you the reason later. Yura stated in a dreamlike state as she wanted Amit to continue what she was doing. Not having to be told twice, Moka bit back into Naruto without answering his question, so he just shrugged and decided that it wasn't important. A few minutes went by as the two just stayed there with Moka latched onto his neck as she feed her fill, then slowly pulled back with a delighted look on her face, like she just had the best orgasm of her life. It's not like she had the pleasures of one yet. Damn it, Yura, stop with the perverted comments. Amit yelled in thought as Yura just giggled to herself as Amit was sporting a crimson blush on her cheeks. Thank Kami, Naruto probably thought she was still under the effects of his heavenly blood. Well, we better start heading to class. Naruto stated as he began to drag Moka along until he thought of something as he turned to her. Hey Moka-chan, you go ahead, I'll catch up with you in a bit. Naruto said as Moka just nodded her head in understanding as she walked towards their class. Okay Naruto-kun, make sure you get to class on time. She yelled as she turned the corner as Naruto made a sealess shadow clone as the clone looked around confusedly until he remembered the reason he was summoned for as he intently dispelled himself by slamming his head into the wall. This of course caused Naruto to growl as he summoned another one. This time he grabbed the clone by the shirt before he dispelled himself. "Don't you even dare." Naruto whispered in an annoyed tone as the clone just slumped his shoulders in defeat, but unfortunately like himself his clones had the same die-hard attitude as he did as the clone glared at his master. "Why do I have to go to class for you?" The clone questioned in an angry voice as Naruto just smiled towards him. "You sir were the unlucky one I just so happened to summon for the job, and you will go and have fun," Naruto stated to his clone as the clone just slumped his shoulders as he slowly walked off towards the classroom, the walk of shame at its finest. May his soul rest in peace in that boring-ass place. Just as Naruto turned around he missed his clone, flipping him the bird for this bullshit the boss was putting him through. A few minutes later we find Naruto strolling through the forest looking for a good place to relax of train when he heard small whimpering coming from his left as he turned his head to look but couldn't see much with all the damn trees, so he decided to check it out and see what's up. He walked for a little bit until he found himself in a small clearing as he heard a small weak voice. "That's someone." The voice said weakly as Naruto's head snapped over to the source of the voice, seeing a girl around his age with light ocean blue hair and purple eyes. She was wearing pretty unique outfit as he had only seen it on her, so far as she was sporting a yellow sweater over a long-sleeved white dress shirt which covered her generous bust that Naruto had to force his eyes to stay on her face in order for them not to trail down towards those melons. It was a losing battle as his eyes took extremely quick glances at them as he subconsciously wished he had a Sharingan in order to save this as she was in a very provocative position. She was bent over supporting herself on one arm as she had the other arm under her bust that seemed to just push them up higher. He was broken out of his thoughts as the girl spoke again. "Help me, please lend me a hand, I just suddenly started feeling ill," she stated as Naruto rushed to her side as he proceeded to help her up. "Let me get you to the infirmary," Naruto stated as she just nodded her head and leaned into to him to support herself, which caused Naruto to blush from her impressive bust, pushing against himself. "Kami in a few years she'll be able to rival Bachan with those," he stated as he tried to push those thoughts down, but failed terribly. "You're telling me, kid? Those puppies are huge for her age, just think in a few years," Kurama stated as he decided to make his presence known, causing Naruto to glance down to examine the hug melons that were pressed against him. "You make a valid point," Naruto said as he stared at the girl's chest intently as if he was thinking something over. "Of course I do, I'm the great Kyuubi no Kitsune," Kurama roared as he puffed out his chest proudly. Naruto just continued to stare at the girl's chest, as if in a trance. This wasn't a perverted stare, it was more of one of calculation. "You say something, Kurama?" Naruto questioned as he was too busy studying the girl's chest to listen to the old fox. This of course caused the great Kyuubi no Kitsune to deflate as he was ignored in his great introduction. Even if Naruto already knew who he was, it still hurt his pride. "If I had to make an estimate I'd say about E-cup, maybe even F in a few years. Damn, Bachan is totally going to be outclassed if this girl ever came to the elemental nations. I don't say this often, but this girl is hot," Naruto stated to himself since Kurama seemed to be in depression at the moment for some reason. He was brought out of his thoughts as the girl spoke up. "Hey, we are getting near the school. Were you even listening to me?" The questioned in an annoyed tone. Oh, she had seen him staring at her chest and she would have welcomed it, but the way he was looking at it was not the way she wanted it. Looked as though he was studying them for something or other. "Oh sorry, I was just thinking," Naruto stated with an embarrassed blush on his face as she had caught him staring at her chest and he wasn't even listening to her in the first place. Oops. I wonder what she thinks of me now, most likely a pervert, he said to himself as Kurama just chuckled. "Don't worry, kid. Well, you weren't paying attention, I surely was, and she seems like the type that wouldn't mind what you just did," Kurama stated as Naruto just mentally face-palmed. "Can't I have any private thoughts? I wasn't even talking to you," Naruto stated in annoyance as Kurama just smirked. "Nope, kid. Your thoughts are my thoughts, we are partners, there's nothing you can hide from me, I have all your senses as well, so I feel, see, smell, and hear everything you do. Speaking of that, kid, here another thing I wanted to bring up with you, when are you gonna get laid?" Kurama questioned in general curiosity as Naruto just blushed from the blunt question. "What the hell is with that question?" Naruto demanded as Kurama just shrugged in response. "Just wondering if I'm going to experience human mating before I go," he stated innocently, a little too innocently. Will you just never mind, I'm done talking about this," Naruto stated as he noticed they were at the entrance of the infirmary as Naruto pushed the door open, then placed the annoyed-looking girl on the bed, who was trying to get the blonde attention the whole way there, deciding to just go for it. She said, "Hey Naruto-kun, can you look into my eyes for me?" she asked kindly as the blonde didn't really see a problem with as he gazed into those beautiful purple eyes. "Kid?" questioned the Nine Tails. He had just seen something he was sure he would never see again in his remaining time. "Yes." Naruto questioned as he was too busy staring into those beautiful purple eyes to notice anything strange about it. Kurama then slapped his face with one of his few tails he had remaining. The kid still hadn't realized something was off here. You do realize that you were hit with an illusion? Kurama questioned while Naruto blinked a few times and looked away from the beautiful girl, surprising her that he still had his free will. What are you talking about? I felt nothing. Naruto questioned while the QP sighed from hearing this. Yeah, I would have been surprised if you did realize. Kurama stated while Naruto raised an eyebrow. Huh? Why? Naruto questioned in confusion. You know we're fusing, right? Kurama questioned as Naruto nodded. Well, you should have some of my memories, correct? Kurama questioned as Naruto shifted through his memories and he did indeed notice he had extra memories. A lot of extra memories. Good, I think I want to tell you is that Kitsune are the race who created illusion, so they don't work on us. Kurama stated as Naruto widened his eyes in shock. Now the thing is after we created these illusions people started to copy our techniques. Though no one had been able to even come close to our techniques besides one race, and that is the Sasuke race. I think that girl is a succubus and she tried to put you under one of her illusions. Kurama stated as Naruto looked back towards the girl who had an extremely confused look on her face. Is she dangerous? Naruto questioned as Kurama merely laughed. To us, no, she is as harmless as a fly. Kurama stated as he stopped laughing. To others though she is a very dangerous enemy. I say you should befriend her, having powerful allies is always a good thing. Kurama finished as he cut the connection between the two leaving Naruto to deal with the succubus girl. So, Kurumu, would you like to tell me what you just attempted to use on me? Naruto questioned as he turned back around to face the girl. Sure, I'll tell you, but you have to tell me how you weren't affected by it. She stated as Naruto nodded his head. He really didn't care if she knew what he was or not. Okay, I'll be blunt. I used a charm spell on you to turn you into one of my slaves. She stated as Naruto nodded his head a few times in understanding, though Kurumu wanted him to fulfill his end. So how were you not affected? She questioned in curiosity as she really wanted to know how he rejected her spell so easily. Oh, I'm a kitsune. Illusions won't work on me. Naruto stated with a wink, but stopped as he thought to himself. Wait, I don't wink, and why am I being so prideful? Naruto questioned in thought as he looked towards the wide-eyed girl. There's no way you could be a kitsune, they have been in hiding ever since their leader went missing over 100 years ago. She yelled out as Naruto just smiled towards her and let a bit of his yaki out. This had the desired effect as his eyes turned blood red with slits and his canines enlarged along with his whiskered cheeks darkening. If you looked at him now, he would look just like a fox with that small smirk on his face. Then what scared Kurumu even more was the shadow behind him. The shadow itself was 9 tails swinging around violently like it was on the attack. Of course Kurumu knew a bit about the kitsune since her kind study their illusions, and it was said that no kitsune had ever passed 5 tails till their leader came along and went above and beyond till 9 tails where they named him QP. She said in a low whisper that Naruto easily caught and smirked too. It seems you know a lot about my kind. Naruto questioned as Kurumu just nodded her head slowly. Yeah, my race had always admired the kitsune race for their illusions. It got to the point that we based our illusion off of theirs. She stated in her shocked voice while Naruto allowed his yaki to reside. So that's how it went. Naruto said to himself as he nodded a few times. Then looked back to the girl with a slight glare. So are you going to tell me why you were trying to put that illusion on me? Naruto questioned with a piercing gaze which caused Kurumu to shrink under. Well, you see, the thing is, she started, but she already knew her plan was a failure. If someone could resist her charm there was no point anymore, because if her plan got out she could be expelled, and that was not going to help her find her destined one if she couldn't even be here to search for him. It's nothing, just know that I won't be trying it anymore. She stated while she looked down sadly. She should have known this wasn't going to work in the first place. Can you at least tell me why you wanted to start whatever plan it was? Naruto questioned since he wanted to know if it was for evil or not. Yeah, I guess I can tell you. She said as she made herself comfortable on the bed. I'm trying to find my destined one. You see, our destined ones are the only male or female in the world where us Akubi can have an intimate relationship with without our partner's life force being sucked away. Though of course we still fed on their life force since it's the only way for us to live, but our partners seem to be able to survive somehow. We're not really sure how, but they do. The thing is, we need to find our destined one soon after we turn 16, and I turned 16 a few months ago. She stated as she hung her head. Wait, what happens if you don't feed? Naruto questioned as Kurumu looked up to him sadly. We die and I need to feed on someone in the next week or I will die, but I don't want to kill anyone, that's why I have to find my destined one. Kurumu stated as she looked down at the ground. Why don't you just feed on someone with unlimited life force? Naruto questioned as he leaned over a bit so that he was a few inches from her face. Like me, for example. Naruto stated as Kurumu widened her eyes from his offer. It's impossible for someone to have unlimited amount of life force even if you are a kitsune. Kurumu stated while Naruto smirked from this. Well, I'm willing to take that risk if it saves you. Naruto stated while Kurumu blushed from his willingness. Do you even know how succubus feed? She questioned as Naruto tilted his head a bit. Well, I don't know how succubus feed, but I do know how vampires feed. If that helps at all. Naruto answered as Kurumu looked at him strangely from the vampire comment but decided to drop it for now as she sighed. We feed through kissing. Kurumu stated while Naruto raised an eyebrow from this. He didn't really mind kissing because it didn't really mean much to him, well, mainly because the last 2 times he kissed were bad memories. One of them he almost died and the other him and saw as well, let's say he only kissed once in his life and it wasn't a good experience seeing as the woman was trying to kill him. I don't have a problem with it if you don't. Naruto stated while Kurumu blushed a bright red from hearing this, she wasn't expecting him to still agree after what she had just told him. Okay. She said lowly as she moved her head slowly and closed the small gap in between them bringing their lips together. Naruto raised an eyebrow from the contact. It wasn't rough like it was with a woman and it wasn't forced like when he and Saz, let's just say he thought it was much more pleasant. Though he did widen his eyes when he felt Kurumu lick his lower lip as Naruto really didn't know what to do here, so he slowly opened his mouth as Kurumu's tongue entered his mouth, causing her to moan. He guessed that was the right move since she seemed happy about it and it actually felt delightful. He thought that he might just get addicted to this feeling. Though he did feel the small almost unnoticeable sap on his life force that seemed to be refilling almost instantly, as if she wasn't even taking any. This caused Naruto to raise an eyebrow as he was just kidding when he said he had unlimited life force, but for some reason it was refilling. Slowly separating, Kurumu looked at Naruto with wide eyes from the feeling she got from him. It was like nothing she had ever experienced before. Somehow she felt the need and the want to do it again, but she kept herself from kissing him again. Then it came to her why she had this want and need. You're the one. She stated as Naruto looked at her with a raised eyebrow. What? Naruto questioned as Kurumu squealed and jumped on Naruto with her breast pressed firmly against his face, causing Naruto wave his hands around as he tried to get the girl off him. Finally he was able to grab her by the shoulders and push her a little back, though she was still hanging off him with her legs wrapped firmly around his waist and her large asset still pushed against his chest. What are you doing? Also, what do you mean I'm the one? Naruto questioned as Kurumu smiled brightly towards him. You're my destined one. She stated while Naruto looked at her with a mind-blown face. Huh? Was his intelligent response as Kurumu couldn't hold it anymore, pressing her lips back against his, only to feel a soft cushion make contact with her lips, which caused her to widen her eyes as she noticed she was now latching onto a pillow, which caused her to widen her eyes to epic proportions when she fell to the floor. Though the pillow did break her fall. Looking around the room she noticed Naruto was no longer there, which caused her to pout and stand up to leave and find him. With Moka a few hours later. Okay, spill it, Yura. Amit questioned as she sat against a tree with her lunchbox currently resting in her lap as she was now ready to get her answers from her inner self. Well, it's really simple really, we are returning to our previous state. Yura answered while Amit became annoyed from the vague answer. Yura. Why does my hair now have random strands of silver? Amit questioned as she grabbed one of her silver strands of hair. Because we're fusing, damn it. Yura yelled out as Moka widened her eyes. Wait. How? You told me you were the original personality. Odom stated while Yura sighed from hearing this. Yeah, well, I lied. Yura stated while Odom merely blinked a few times from her inner personality lying to her. What? Amit questioned blankly as Yura sighed once again. Basically our original personality was split in two. I am our darker and stronger side while you are the brighter, weaker side. Yura stated while Amit stayed silent for a bit. Well, why do I not have our memories of before we had the rosary? Because you do, right? Amit questioned as Yura hummed to herself for a bit in thought. That is a really good question, but it did help me with keeping the truth away from you. Yura stated while Amit glared towards her lunchbox. She wasn't hungry and if she wanted to eat something she would rather some of Naruto's blood. Why did you keep the truth from me? Amit questioned while Yura stayed silent for a moment. Just trust me, it was safer at the time for you to think you were just a personality the rosary came up with. We are vampires. When we were younger we always had to hide your personality from our family because we didn't want them to know about our soft side. Then when our personalities separated and we became our own. I kept the memories while you became the main personality, huh? That sounds like a good trade-off to me. Maybe that's why you didn't get the memories. Yura said as Amit nodded her head in understanding. So how long do you think it will take for the fusion to be complete? Amit questioned and Yura hummed in thought. From the rate we're going I'd say about another few weeks. Yura stated while Moka played with one of her silver strands of hair. So what, will our hair turn completely silver? Amit questioned as Yura laughed, but then she remembered that Amit didn't have their memories. No, our hair won't turn completely silver. It will be mainly silver, but with strands of pink running through it like highlights. Yura explained as she remembered how their hair used to look before the rosary was placed on them. But Naruto. Hey guys, did you see a big-breasted blue-haired girl around? Naruto questioned from the ledge of the building where Sasuke, Sakura and Kakashi were currently eating. Kakashi just looked at Naruto with an eye smile. No Naruto, we have not seen one of those around. Kakashi answered as Naruto sighed in relief. He had been trying to avoid her all morning, it was tiring. Sasuke just smiled in amusement while Sakura looked annoyed. Naru, she yelled, but was stopped when Naruto appeared in front of her and placed a hand over her mouth. Shut up for once. Naruto whispered quietly since he really didn't want to be found already, that would suck. Getting a slow nod from Sakura, Naruto slowly removed his hand while Sakura just looked at him angrily. Sorry about that, but I have been running from her all morning and now that I lost her, I'd rather not have to go through the whole running thing again. Naruto stated as he sat down next to Sasuke and released a long tired sigh. Girl troubles? Kakashi questioned while Naruto nodded his head a few times. This caused Sasuke and Sakura to perk up from hearing Naruto had girl problems. What happened? Sasuke questioned while Naruto leaned his head back so he was looking towards the sky. Okay, well, to start off with, I was helping this girl named Kurumu get to the infirmary because I thought she was injured. Naruto started the explanation as Kakashi interrupted. Oh, so that's why you had a clone go to class for you this morning? Kakashi figured as Naruto nodded his head quickly. Yeah, that worked. Well, after I got her to the infirmary she tried to cast a genjutsu on me, but with me being a Jinchuriki it was useless on me. Naruto stated while at this point the three other shinobi looked extremely interested in the story. Then I proceeded to question her on why she needed to cast the genjutsu. So she explained to me how she was a succubus and she was searching for her destined one. She also explained to me that she would die if she didn't feed, so I let her feed on me. Naruto stated as Kakashi started giggling in a perverted way from him reading up on every race of monster. He may be a lazy asshole at times, but it pertained to the mission and he was an elite jonin for a reason. Meanwhile Sasuke and Sakura looked horrified from the thought of Naruto letting someone feed off him again. How exactly do they feed? Sakura questioned as she wanted to know if they need like more blood like a vampire or a body part. By kissing. Naruto answered simply as Sasuke and Sakura widened their eyes. You kissed someone you just met? Sakura yelled out as Naruto covered his sensitive ears. Yes, I did. She said she could die if she didn't feed soon, so I let her feed on me. Naruto stated as if it was the easiest thing in the world to understand. Wait Naruto, don't they feed on your life force? Kakashi questioned as he finally got over the whole kissing thing and now was worried for his student's health. Yeah, they do, but for some reason when she was feeding on me, I could feel like I was gaining life force at the same time she was taking some from me. It was like a foreign life force was invading my body, but it didn't hurt, it felt almost natural. Naruto answered while he, Sasuke and Sakura had confused looks on their faces. Though Kakashi had his eyes widened. And after that she started claiming I was her destined one and stuff like that. I didn't understand what she was going on about, so I just got out of there. Naruto stated as he suddenly felt a pair of arms wrap around his neck. I found you. The person said quietly as Naruto froze in place from him recognizing the voice. Turning his head ever so slowly he looked towards the girl with a scared face. Though he wasn't able to say anything because said girl already crashed her lips against his, causing Sakura and Sasuke to widen their eyes again, and Kakashi, well, you already know what he was doing. Who are you and what are you doing to Naruto-kun? Another voice yelled out as the girl slowly pulled back from Naruto's lips and looked towards the newcomer who had pink and silver hair. I'm Kurumu Kurono and I'm merely feeding on my destined one. She stated as Moka blushed from the girl said feeding. Naruto-kun is my mate. Moka yelled out as the blue-haired succubus merely smirked and captured Naruto's lips once again, causing Moka to glare at said girl. Running up to Naruto, Moka crouched down and brought her fangs next to his neck. Fine, I'll just feed on my mate as well. Moka declared as she bit into Naruto's neck. Naruto himself didn't know how to react at all here. On one hand he was feeling great pleasure and on the other hand he was feeling great pain. Well, I didn't mean for you to befriend either of them this way, but it could be a good thing. Kurama stated as he watched the scene with interest. Life at Youkai Academy had just gotten a whole lot more interesting for one Uzumaki Naruto. A few days later. Well then, everyone, this academy's goal is to train monsters to adapt to human society, just as I have been saying all along. Nico-sensei stated as she paced around the front in her lecture mode. So that means starting today you're all going to take up club activities. She said in excitement as a few people groaned, but Naruto raised his hand. What the heck is a club? Naruto questioned as a few people laughed, but the majority of the class didn't take the chance of the getting on Naruto's bad side, seeing as he was the most popular guy with the girls and the fact that he already put someone in the hospital. Well, a club is an association of two or more people united by a common interest or goal. That's the literal definition, though a club in high school is basically a place for students with common interests to meet up and interact with one another for the school. Nico-sensei explained as Naruto nodded his head in understanding. We'll get a deeper understanding of humans by experiencing with human-made activities through some sweat in club activities. To transform into humans perfectly, we must have a clear understanding of humans. She stated as she pointed towards the whiteboard, though one student raised his hand. Sensei, wouldn't that mean you would get an F in that department? The student questioned as everyone else noticed Nico-sensei's tail waving around rapidly, which caused her to blush as she jumped the student and scratched his eyes so he couldn't see it. Understand, everyone will participate in club activities. She yelled out excitedly as if what she had just done didn't happen at all, causing all the students in the room to sweat drop from their sensei's attitude. Everyone, please visit a lot of groups and decide which one you want to enter. She said as she started to leave the room, but stopped right in front of the door as she remembered something that was extremely important. And remember, everyone, make you pay a visit to the newspaper club, I am the advisor of it after all. She stated as she left the room to allow the students to go find their clubs. 20 minutes later. Is it just me or do all these clubs seem weird to you guys? Naruto questioned as he, along with Moka, Kurumu, Kakashi, and Sasuke, walked along the path observing all the different clubs there was to join. Though the thing was, every club just seemed weird. I know what you mean, like Sasuke started as he pointed towards a lot of people that looked wrapped up in bandages. What is that, a mummy club? Sasuke read out loud as he just backed up slowly. That was just creepy, up another club he wanted nothing to do with. At least those guys are keeping their distance. I think they want to ask the girl something, but with you here they seem to be keeping their distance. Kakashi stated as he pointed towards a creepy looking guy who was holding a camera and was shaking as he stared at Moka. Yeah, that's a good thing. Naruto stated as he then looked towards Sasuke. Hey, where is Sakura? She is usually hanging off you. Naruto stated as Sasuke sighed from this. He really didn't want to talk about Sakura right now, it just wasn't pleasant. I have no idea really, and frankly I don't really care, she's way too clingy. Sasuke stated while Naruto looked towards him with worry. Naruto couldn't really give a damn about Sakura anymore, but Sasuke would always be his best friend. Sounds like trouble in paradise. Kakashi stated as Sasuke nodded his head a bit. I don't know, it was nice going out with Sakura at the beginning, but now she just annoys me for some reason. Sasuke stated while the two guys nodded to this. Maybe the next time we go back to Konoha we can get her off the mission. Naruto stated as he was getting sick of Sakura always getting in his business. She was seriously becoming a bother to him and Sasuke. Now there's no need to be mean. Kakashi stated as he continued to read his book. Naruto-kun, maybe we should join the swimming club. Kurumu stated as she ran back up to Naruto with a girl with aqua-colored hair, causing Moka to tense up a bit, and Naruto noticed this. Moka-chan, what's wrong? Naruto questioned as Moka looked up towards him nervously. Water is not a good thing for me. Moka stated as Naruto nodded his head in understanding. He wanted to join a club with both girls, so he wasn't going to join a club if both weren't happy about it. Oh, is the little girlie scared of getting a little wet? Questioned the girl with aqua-colored hair. No one was expecting it when Moka walked up to the said girl and picked her up while glaring towards the girl with crimson eyes. You better watch what you say to me, fish bitch. Moka stated lowly, but a second later Moka's eyes turned back to the normal green color, which led to Moka dropping the girl and backing up with a hand over her mouth. I'm sorry. Moka stated as she turned around and walked away. What just happened here? Sasuke questioned as this was the first time he saw the seemingly shy Moka threaten someone. Well, I'm joining. Kakashi stated as he started walking towards the pool, though he was dragging Sasuke with him. You're coming too, it seems you need to loosen up. Kakashi stated as both of them along with the shocked aqua-haired girl as they rounded the building. I'm going to go apologize to Moka. I forgot she was a vampire for a second there. Kurumu stated she may be the girl's rival, but they had become friends in the few days they were all hanging out together. Wait, what does her being a vampire have to do with what just happened? Naruto questioned as he followed after Kurumu, who was looking for Moka. Kurumu sighed as she looked back towards Naruto. You really don't know much about monsters, do you? I'm kind of surprised about that, seeing as your race is one of the few most powerful monster races out there. She questioned as Naruto shrugged. It wasn't his fault that he wasn't educated on these things. He just found out about monsters like a week ago, though she didn't know that. Even if Moka is a member of one of the strongest races, they still have weaknesses like every other race. Due to the strong purification power in water, vampires are weak against water. If they ever wanted to enter water, they would need to put what is known as water antidote herbs in the water beforehand to weaken the purification powers. Kurumu explained as Naruto nodded his head. It seemed Naruto still had yet to absorb all of Kurama's memories. Oh, I see, so that's why she reacted that way. Naruto stated as he nodded his head in understanding. With Moka. What was that? Amit questioned as Yura huffed. That fishy-smelling woman was insulting us. Yura stated as she then grinded her teeth together. You're right, I don't know what that was, we should have ripped her to shreds for what she did. Who does she think she is talking down to us like that, a vampire? Yura stated while Moka sighed that wasn't what she was talking about at all. No, I mean how you took control for a second there. Amit questioned as Yura raised her eyebrow from inside the rosary. I didn't take control, you did that all on your own. Yura stated as Amit widened her eyes from hearing this. What? But. I would never do that. Amit stated as Yura just sighed from her weaker self. Yes, you would, we would. It also seems the fusion is happening a lot faster than I originally thought. Yura stated while Amit pulled her hair out in front of her to see that her hair was looked like half the strands were dyed silver while the other half was pink. So how much longer? Amit questioned with a sigh as she sat down at a table. Actually, we're done, the only thing separating us from fully fusing together is the rosary. If we take it off it should allow us to become whole again. Yura stated while Moka looked off towards the forest deep in thought. Do you want me to find a way to take it off? Amit questioned as Yura was silent for a moment. Honestly, yes, I don't like being in here all day. Plus you will have full control of your powers again. Yura stated while Amit nodded her head in understanding. What's going to happen to us? Amit questioned. We will no longer exist. It will just be the real Moka left to take our place. Well, I guess we will still be here, but we won't be ourselves, we will just be the Moka, no Amit and no Yura. Yura stated while Amit nodded her head in understanding. How are we going to get it off? Amit questioned as Yura smiled to this, she guessed Amit didn't notice the reason the rosary was weakening in the first place. Naruto. Yura answered as Amit widened her eyes. Naruto is a kitsune. He was the reason the rosary was weakening in the first place. Every time we drank some of his blood the rosary got weaker and weaker. That also explains the reason the rosary weakened as fast as it did with how much we have been drinking his blood this week. Yura stated, causing Amit to blush hard. Moka. She heard as she turned her head to see Naruto and Kurumu running up to her. You should ask him later. Yura stated while Amit replied with a small okay. Hey Moka, I just wanted to say sorry for earlier. Kurumu stated as Moka tilted her head to the side in confusion. Why? Moka questioned while Kurumu scratched her cheek with one of her fingers. Well, I forgot about you being a vampire and I kind of went ahead and asked if we could join the swimming club. Kurumu stated as Moka gained a look of realization she completely had forgotten about that. It's okay, I don't mind. Moka stated while Kurumu smiled and grabbed Moka's hand. Well, let's go find us a club. Kurumu stated as she dragged a smiling Moka along with her. Naruto just shook his head as he followed the two girls back toward school. With Kakashi and Sasuke an hour later. See what your perverted mind got us in. Sasuke yelled as he formed the Chidori in one of his hands. I'm man enough to admit it was my bad. Kakashi said back while he formed his own Chidori as both him and Sasuke jumped out of the pool and landed on the edge. Ready? Sasuke questioned while Kakashi nodded his head. They both proceeded to shove their lightning-encased hands inside the pool, electrocuting all the mermaids inside. Quickly pulling their hands out so they didn't kill anyone, they surveyed the pool to see all the mermaids were unconscious. Last time I follow you on one of your adventures. Sasuke stated while Kakashi smiled towards him. Ma, it wasn't that bad, was it? Kakashi questioned while Sasuke looked at him like he was stupid. Not that bad. We were almost killed by mermaids because of you wanting to look at them in swimsuits. How is that not that bad? Sasuke questioned as he made quotation marks with his fingers. We could have died. Kakashi said, causing Sasuke to groan as he left to go find his pants. Those mermaids just throw their clothes everywhere when they jumped himself and Kakashi. Come on, you have to admit it was nice. Kakashi yelled out as Sasuke sent him a death glare that caused Kakashi to turn his head and whistle. Sasuke-kun, I found you finally, Sakura yelled out as she ran up to him and Kakashi, who were putting their shirts back on though they couldn't find their pants anywhere, so they decided to keep the swim trunks. Well, I've been here the whole time. Sasuke answered as Sakura didn't care about his attitude, instead she was so excited right now. I found a club for the three of us to join. She said excitedly as she dragged Sasuke along with her while Kakashi simply followed. A few minutes later. So we all ended up here. Naruto stated as he looked towards the other three shinobi who had just walked into the room. Moka stopped looking through the books when she heard Naruto speak, while Kurumu stopped. Well, she didn't stop per se, she merely looked up from Naruto's arm that she was resting against, getting a glare from Moka as Kurumu just stuck her tongue out at her. She won their game of rock, paper, scissors. She had the bragging rights here. It appears so. Sasuke stated as he took the last chair on the row next to Naruto, which caused Sakura to pout from not being able to sit next to her Sasuke-kun, then she just took a seat across from him as Moka and Kakashi took the last 2 seats. The 6 sat in the room for a good 5 minutes simply chatting until Kurumu asked a question that caught everyone's attention. "Naruto-kun, can I feed?" Kurumu questioned while the 3 other shinobi continued talking because they were used to this in the past few days. Though Moka was glaring at the girl with her eyes crimson. "Succubus, you feed on him now and I will rip your tail off," Moka stated and soon her eyes turned back green. Leaving everyone in the room silent. "Oh hey guys, I'm so glad you decided to join the newspaper club," Nico-sensei stated as she walked into the room to see all the new members were quietly sitting at the table, which caused her to smile. "I just wanted to tell you guys what the newspaper club is all about," Nico-sensei stated as everyone looked at her awkwardly. They were pretty sure they knew why the newspaper was here. "Nico-sensei, I think we know about the club," Sakura stated as Nico-sensei sighed from hearing this. She had this whole lecture thought up in her head, but now there was no reason for it. "Fine, well the club president will see you tomorrow here," she stated as she slowly walked out of the club room. In depression, the kids just shut her down completely. "Well, there's only 20 minutes till afternoon classes start, so I'm going to sleep," Naruto stated as he laid his head down. Kakashi seconded that motion as he laid his head down as well. Which left only Sasuke awake with the girls, who started talking about girl stuff, which caused Sasuke to sigh as he laid his head down as well, since he didn't want to be the only guy awake in a room with girls. After classes. "Naruto-kun, can you take off the rosary?" Meiko questioned as she walked through the forest with Naruto. The question caused Naruto to raise an eyebrow from what he remembered Kurama telling him about the rosary holding her powers back. "I say you take it off," Kurama stated as Naruto blinked a few times and nodded. "I have one question before I do this. What happens once I take it off?" Naruto questioned as Moka answered. "I will return to my real self," she stated as Naruto raised an eyebrow from hearing this. "What are you talking about, real self?" Naruto questioned as Moka put a finger to her cheek and thought. "Well, I guess you can say this version of me is only half of the real me," Moka stated as this just made Naruto even more confused from the explanation. "What do you mean you only half, what's your other half like?" Naruto blinked as Moka laughed awkwardly. "Well, she's basically the polar opposite," Moka answered nervously while Naruto just nodded his head slowly. "Okay, I guess," Naruto said as he grabbed the rosary and channeled a bit of his yaki through it as his fingernails grew and started cutting into his closed hand as the pulled on the rosary as hard as he could. Noticing he was getting nowhere with this, Naruto added more as his eyes changed to their crimson color and his canines grew to the point they were stabbing into his lip from Naruto grinding his teeth together. Then suddenly pop as Naruto went flying back from the yaki that erupted from Moka. Looking up to her as he sat up, he noticed a huge pillar of pink yaki shooting up into the sky, which actually made Naruto shiver in excitement from the amount she was releasing. It appeared Kurama's excitement was leaking through to Naruto himself as he watched the pillar slowly dissipate. Taking a closer look when he noticed all the yaki was gone, Naruto noticed the Moka he had come to know was no longer standing there. Instead, he saw what looked more like a grown woman standing there. She had long silver hair that went down to her lower thighs, along with a few strips of pink running through it. He also noticed her bust size had gone up 2 sizes as she now had what looked to be TT breast. Turning her head slightly so Naruto could see her face. He noticed her canines slightly reaching out her closed mouth, then her pink-colored eyes that seemed to shine in the moonlight. "I'm whole again," she stated in a slightly deeper voice. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Bye bye.